Have you ever looked around at everything you own and thought, how do I even begin to downsize? Today, I'm talking with Melanie Ramos of Blue Moon Estate Sales in Knoxville, someone who turns overwhelming transitions into clear, calm steps. We'll dive into how she got started and, more importantly, how she helps people downsize with dignity, value, and peace of mind. Let's jump in. So what inspired you to get started in estate sales?
The thing I like most about working in the estate sale world is helping families. As you mentioned, it can be very overwhelming to look at an entire lifetime of memories. And when it's time to transition to that maybe one level home or move in with your kids, or for whatever transition life has thrown your way, what do you do with all of the stuff? So I really wanted to be there, as a solution for people who, wanted to not throw everything away, not necessarily donate everything, but, a combination of getting their treasures into good hands.
Because over time, people accumulate so much stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to decide and make those calculated decisions on what you want to do with everything.
Exactly. But you don't necessarily need stuff to remind you of people. So keep the few things that you want and let go of the rest.
Yeah. I've heard too, like taking pictures of certain things will help you to be able to let go of some materials.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what is the biggest emotional barrier that you found where people don't want to let certain things go?
I think the biggest emotional barrier, something that meant a lot to one person who's maybe no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe this was, mom's favorite painting, but it never really spoke to any of her kids.
Right.
And so they feel that guilt associated with letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that they want. So, and that's when we have that conversation. You don't need that painting to remember your mom.
Yeah.
You take what you do want, maybe her ring or something else, another piece.
Yeah.
And let go of the guilt. Because,
and let somebody else enjoy it and appreciate it. That's going to appreciate it more.
Yes.
So how do you manage the balance between maximizing the value and ensuring things sell, especially when somebody needs to downsize or transition under a really tight timeline?
Well, essentially, I am working for the client. So I am listening to their desires. We know the market. We're doing this every single week. So we know what things will sell for. If they have one or two pieces that, they don't want to let go for a certain price, we can just write that right into the contract. Don't sell, this piece for less than that. That's no problem. And if we don't sell it, then they can hold on to it.
Right.
But the majority of the household items, because we're doing this every single week, we know what it will sell for, and that is our goal, to sell it. And while they might lose on one particular piece of art that was meaningful, the other items in the house, like the chemicals, the towels, those all add up as well. So I think if they look at it overall, we're going to exceed their expectations in what they could have sold for their whole household, versus focusing on one piece that might be, emotional versus data driven, like we look at things.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because it is the overall picture. So, things that you didn't think would make a lot of money are valuable to other people.
Right.
So, it kind of makes up for that difference.
Exactly.
Walk me through your process with a new client. Like somebody calls you and says, I don't know where to start. What do I do?
Sure. So even on the phone call conversation, we start the ball rolling, start them to think about things. So maybe don't donate anything yet until I've had a chance to walk through and get the tour. A good time to have me over to have a tour of the estate is after the family has decided what they're selling and what they want to keep. And if they can label it with, a sticky note or some blue painter's tape, that's very helpful for a visual. And then as I'm walking through, they can point out items of certain value if they think, maybe I wouldn't be aware. And I can point out to them as well, things that are hot sellers and things that are maybe a little tougher to sell. So we just have that frank conversation, looking at what's the potential value in the home, how many of my team will it take to stage, price, and host the sale. And from there I can quote a fair commission rate. If that commission rate sounds good, we sign a contract and we pick a date, and get the professional photographer to come out, make their items look very marketable, very beautiful, desirable, get people excited to come out. You know, we're part of a franchise, so we have a nice marketing reach where people from all over the country will see those items.
Right.
If there's something rare or collectible, they will travel to find it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing in the background. But we actually don't need to come out to that home itself until the week of the sale.
Okay.
So that's when the equipment trailer gets dropped off. We go through every single drawer, cabinet, closet. We're putting like items with like. So if we find a box of china in the garage, we're going to scrub it up and lay it out in the dining room where we expect to find china. Pretty much transitioning the home to a retail environment.
Right. With
nice black tablecloths over the folding tables that we bring in. So it really has a very upscale type of...
And not flea market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. And so once everything is out and in place and very shoppable, then we go back and we do our pricing. So we're researching the items. I mean, we do this every week. So we have some go-to prices.
Right.
For towels and screwdrivers and baskets. Higher end items, your tools, electronics, higher end furniture, collectibles, vehicles, jewelry, all of that we are looking at. You know, what is it going for right now? Is it hot? Is it not?
Right.
And then we're putting an attractive price that gets the client fair market value.
Right.
But will also sell. And so then we have the 2-day event. You know, during the sale itself, we on average get about 1,000 people through our sales. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's just, we've had up to 1,700 before, you know. If you have firearms and tools, it's
yeah.
Yeah, they're coming. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're ready for them. You know, we have a point of sale system. So as the shoppers are ringing items up, we're taking an inventory of what's sold. They get a printed receipt after paying cash or credit. We're able to give the client a list of what sold for what.
Wow.
And
I think a lot of times people don't realize the value of items that they have because they've had them for so long.
Right.
So like when my grandmother passed, she had these tables and I always loved them, but we lived far away. So when she passed, we weren't in a position to like ship them, you know, and they were worth a lot of money because they were in great condition and they were like some mid-century modern type stuff. They were like 2-level and like we looked them up online later and I was like, why didn't they not, you know, not because of the value to us, but I just always loved those tables. And then, you know, champagne taste.
Yes.
You know, but
that's right.
Okay. What are some common pitfalls or mistakes that people make when they're trying to liquidate their possessions themselves?
When people are doing it on their own, they tend to donate a lot of items that would have sold. You know, donation and charity has its time and place. If you want to give because your heart wants to give, then absolutely do that. But if you're trying to maybe, you know, make some money to keep, you know, a parent, you know, in assisted living longer or help support an estate, you know, that type of thing, that can be revenue generating.
Or help pay for the moving, pay for, you know, minor repairs or anything like that.
We usually sell a couple $1,000s worth of clothes. So when I get to a house and somebody has donated all the clothes already, I'm like, okay, well, you know, let's just stop with the donating until, you know, after the sale, and then there'll probably be a few things left over. So that would be one. You know, they don't have a following. If you have your own estate sale, you can advertise and put up street signs and that kind of thing. But you just,
it's more of a garage sale type of atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take you to go through everything in your house? You know, I have a crew of 30 people. So we stage in one day and we price in one day. I send enough crew out there versus if it's you and your family, you know, you're going through everything and you're, you know, everything. You might stop and try on a hat, you know, oh, remember this hat at that
party?
And
it's more emotionally charged.
It is, and it just slows you down. We are objective. We have no attachment to these items. We go through professionally, objectively, with care. You know, we will find that wedding band that maybe was tucked into a couch, and we'll ask the client, hey, did you mean for us to sell this?
Right.
You know, we'll find stacks of cash, all of that stuff. We find it, and we get it back to the client. So there's no worry with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in your experience, what items tend to bring the most unexpected value?
I think there's a few categories that people don't think about. Tools is one. The garage has all kinds of valuable items in there that people, just don't think about.
Especially like
Antiques, yes.
People that are collectors of those things.
Yes, absolutely. The rustier, the better.
Yeah.
But power tools as well. Jewelry is something that people don't realize that we can sell. Even really nice appraised pieces, for thousands of dollars we can sell.
Yeah.
We've got that marketing reach. Vehicles. People don't realize that we can sell their vehicles for them, and I can give a very low commission rate on that. It saves you having to meet a stranger from the internet to have that transaction. And we can,
which is not safe.
It's not safe. It's time consuming. And, we often get above Kelley Blue Book value for cars, which, is pretty great.
Yeah. And especially now when used cars are so expensive anyway, that's a great resource.
It's a hot market, and it's a big draw to the sale as well. So I always ask if they have any vehicles.
And I want to say the jewelry is probably a lot because people like different pieces. Mm-hmm. People like stuff that's original or has a history or a story.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be gold or silver, although we do get full value for that as well. But even the costume items are nice, and if there's enough of it, it can be an unexpected value.
Yeah. How do you handle leftover items or items that don't sell?
We typically sell about 85 to 90% of what's in an estate. And what is left over is in the contract. They have an option. The family can keep it if they want to. It's their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep it. I tried to sell it for them. I'm not going to keep it for myself and sell it again later.
Right.
But I do bring in a clear out crew if they opt for that option for a small charge off of their proceeds. It's usually around $600 on average. And that's, I don't know what's left. I'm hoping nothing's left because I try to sell it all for them.
Right.
But they come with a truck, some muscle, right as we close our doors on a Saturday, and they empty the house. They sweep it clean. You get a check and an empty house if you go with that option.
Yeah.
So most clients.
So that's so convenient especially for people that, say something, they had to transition mom or dad out of their house and they live in a different state. That's reassuring.
Yeah. And they've already taken what they wanted before I even did my first visit with them. So, the stuff that's left over, that's your garage sale type stuff. You know? It's the Tupperware, some plain Jane dishes, some cups of nuts and bolts from the garage. It's the good stuff we sold.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, when you're getting 1,000 to 1,700 people in, it's a good chance everything's going to sell.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any memorable stories of a house that you've helped somebody downsize or helped them to liquidate their house?
Well, I know I'm like you, Jennifer. I like to exceed people's expectations. So I remember this one sale out in Seymour. A client was just showing me around on a tour, like we were talking about, the initial consultation. Up in her attic, she showed me, 4 small boxes of her dad's comic book collection.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking, okay, those we'll have to, take a special look at. Those could be valuable. But it didn't register, at the time that they were something like really, really special. Because they're in boxes and I just kind of glanced in at the top. And then we took the photos and then the phone calls started coming in. People are starting to offer very large sums of money. Somebody said, I'll give you $15,000 for the whole thing right now. And then multiple phone calls. So I said, wait a second, we've got something even more special than I realized.
Right.
Because I hadn't even looked at it. We didn't even have access to the house yet.
Sure.
The client was still there. So once we did get the access to the home, we changed up. Instead of pricing each comic book individually like our plan was, we decided to sell it as a collection and take the highest offer. And we ended up getting $22,500 for those 4 boxes of dusty old comic books. It was kind of an aside in the consultation. And that was really, really cool. I mean, we blew them away with what we could get for those.
And that's the point. A lot of people don't realize what value are in things. And you do this every day, all day long. So,
and by putting it out there and marketing it, then the people who are interested came to us. Because
Yeah.
this person wasn't even from Knoxville. They drove from South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
because if you're doing just like a local Facebook marketplace or Craigslist, you know,
Yeah.
you're going to get those people that are
Yeah, they're going to want a deal.
wanting to steal
Yeah,
it, basically.
exactly. Right.
Yeah.
They think you don't know what you have.
Yeah. Wow. So for someone who's just now thinking about downsizing and they don't know where to start, what would your advice be to them? Don't donate yet.
Don't donate yet. I would say just give me a call. Let me, walk you through the process like we did, earlier. If they don't have a realtor, I think that's a good time, to work with you as well, Jennifer, because we can tag team. Do you want to sell those curtains or do they help sell the home?
Right.
Together, same thing with the fridge, washer, dryer. There's a few questions that, we partner with that might be different for every home.
Right. Now, is there a charge for you to come out and just assess and give there an estimate?
No charge at all.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. I never take any money. I pay the client money. So I write them
Well,
a
there
check.
you go. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Right.
You showed me a bunch of awards that you've
absolutely.
gotten.
So we are a national franchise. I just wanted to mention we're one of over 130 owners from coast to coast. And Knoxville has been #1 in sales the last 2 years in a row. And, we are, working on this year as well. So
that's great.
We are super excited. We have a great market here, a great following, a wonderful crew who performs miracles every single week. We work with wonderful partners who give us great referrals for houses that need to downsize.
Right.
So we couldn't be happier. We do about 2 sales a week pretty consistently. We have the business to move to 3 sales a week. So that is our growth goal for 2026. And we're getting ready for it.
That's awesome. And so they can follow you on Facebook.
Yes, on Facebook or on Instagram. And then we're bluemoonestatesales.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. If you want to know how to contact Blue Moon Estate Sales, I'll put the info in the comments. To anyone feeling weighed down by what to keep and what to let go, know this: Melanie and her team are built for your transition. They'll guide you, carry the heaviness you don't need to carry, and help make downsizing not a burden, but a smooth new beginning. Thanks for joining us, and to our viewers, you're not alone in this process. Help is just a conversation away. As always, I'm Jennifer Porco, and I have real solutions for real estate.